Welcome students. This is the second part. I am going to explaining you about chemical kinetics. It is the responsibility of chemist to plan the proper experimental method to generate most conclusive truths or evidences for the reaction. The main steps in any kinetic study are number 1, measurement of rate constant and reaction order, and the second is establishment of relationships between the rate and reaction mixture composition. Also identification of intermediates and products, and finally interpretation of the collected data to arrive at plausible reaction mechanism. If chemistry is producing new substances out of old substances, that is chemical reactions, then there are two basic questions that must be answered. In the reaction feasible, this is the subject of chemical thermodynamics. If the reaction is feasible, then how first this is the subject of chemical kinetics. By understanding this concept, we can develop the theories which can be used to predict the outcome and rate of reactions. We presume that in order to react, the colliding molecules must possess a total kinetic energy equal to or greater than the activation energy. In this class, we will briefly discuss about collision theory, about activation theory, activated complex, transition state or quasi-equilibrium state, and role of catalyst, different type of catalyst we used for increase or decrease the rate of the reaction. Now, reaction mechanisms. The sequence of events that describes the actual process by which reactants become products is called the reaction mechanism. Reactions may occur at once or through several discrete steps. Each of these processes is known as an elementary reaction or elementary process. Now, the overall progress of a chemical reaction can be represented at the molecular level by a series of simple elementary steps or elementary reactions. The sequence of elementary steps that leads to product formation is the reaction mechanism. Here, this is the example of formation of nitrogen dioxide by the reaction between nitrogen monoxide and oxygen gas. Now, how we get the reaction mechanism? It's very simple to follow the two elementary steps. After that, we get the overall reaction, that how nitrogen dioxide can be formed by the reaction between nitrogen monoxide and oxygen gas. Writing plausible reaction mechanisms. The sum of the elementary steps must give the overall balanced equation for the reaction, and the rate determining step should predict the same rate law that is determined experimentally. Now obviously one question arises in our mind, that what is rate determining step? The rate determining step is the slowest step in the sequence of steps leading to product formation. Up until now, we have only been concerned with the reactants and product. Now we will examine what path the reactants took in order to become the products. The reaction mechanism gives the path of the reaction. Mechanisms provide a very detailed picture of which bonds are broken and formed during the course of a reaction. Elementary step, any process that occurs in a single step. Molecularity, number of molecules present in an elementary step. Now, which reaction is unimolecular? Now, when one molecule in the elementary step is present, by this way we can predict about the bimolecular or termolecular type of elementary step. It is uncommon to see termolecular processes, statistically improbable for an effective collision to occur. Now, rate laws of elementary steps. Since this process occurs in one single step, the stoichiometry can be used to determine the rate law. Now, what is law of mass action? The rate of a simple one-step reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of the reacting substances. Here in this table, I just show you different type of molecularity, various type of elementary steps, and on the basis of the reaction we just predict the different type of rate law. You can see this table and the picture obviously clear. Now, reaction mechanisms is the same thing, is the summarized form, where the molecularity of a process tells how many molecules are involved in the process. The rate law for an elementary step is written directly from that step. Now, pre-equilibria. A situation that is only slightly more complicated than the sequential reaction scheme described. Now, here A plus B is a reversible type of reaction convert into C, but when C convert into D at the second step, it follows irreversible process. Now, the rate equations for this reaction are on the basis of a change in concentration of A and change in concentration of B. Here K minus 1 implies the reaction rate further proceed from forward step to backward step. Now, if we follow the steps, then we can predict for A, B, C and D their change in concentration with respect to the time. This cannot be solved analytically and in general would have to be integrated numerically to obtain an accurate solution. Now, however, the situation simplifies considerable if K inverse 1 very greater than K2. In this case, an equilibrium is reached between the reactants A and B and the intermediate C, and the equilibrium is only perturbed very slightly by C leaking away very slowly to form the product D. If we assume that we can neglect this perturbation of the equilibrium, then once equilibrium is reached, the rates of the forward and reverse reactions must be equal. That is K1 concentration of A and B that equal to K inverse 1 concentration of C. Now, very interesting topic, activation energy. There is a minimum amount of energy required for a reaction, the activation energy EA. For example, you can see from this picture, as a ball cannot get over a hill if it does not roll up the hill with enough energy. A reaction cannot occur unless the molecules possesses sufficient energy to get over the activation energy barrier. Now, molecules must possess a minimum amount of energy to react. Why? In order to form products, bonds must be broken in the reactants. Bond breakage requires energy. Molecules moving too slowly with too little kinetic energy don't react when they collide. Activation energy is the minimum energy required to initiate a chemical reaction. EA will vary with the reaction. Now, next we will look at an example of activation energy. Consider the rearrangement of methyl isonitrile. See, In methyl isonitrile, C N triple bond C bond bends until the C triple bond N bond breaks, and the isocyanide portion is perpendicular to the methyl portion. This structure is called the activated complex or transition state. The energy required for the above twist and break is known as the activation energy. Once the carbon nitrogen bond is broken, the isocyanide portion can continue to rotate, forming a carbon-carbon triple bond nitrogen bond. Here is what the reaction looks like in terms of a graph of the energies that are involved in the process. See the graph thoroughly. That methyl isocyanide initially taken as a reactant, when it achieved its activation energy, then it converted into activated complex, then methyl isocyanide further converted into methyl cyanide, which is a product and a stable one. The change in energy delta E for the reaction is the difference in energy between methyl isocyanide, which behave as like a reactant, and methyl cyanide behave as like a product. The activation energy is the difference in energy between reactants, methyl isocyanide, and the transition state. The rate depends on activation energy. If the hill is taller, the reaction rate is slower. If the hill is shorter, rate is faster. Notice that if a forward reaction is exothermic, then the reverse reaction is endothermic. The methyl isonitrile molecule needs to gain enough energy to overcome the activation energy barrier. From kinetic molecular theory, we know that as temperature increases, the total kinetic energy increases and the number of molecules with energy greater than activation energy also increases. So, as long as the temperature is high enough, the reaction can make it over the hill and proceed. Now here I explained the two different reaction graph on the basis of activated complex and activation energy. One is exothermic reaction, where we need very small amount of external energy to achieve the reactant molecule to convert himself into activated complex. But for the endothermic reaction, the activation energy required more with respect to the product molecule. Now again I explain two potential energy versus reaction pathway graph on the basis of exothermic reaction, another for endothermic of reaction. The amount of energy which converted or restored is known as total enthalpy change of the reaction and explains in terms of delta H. Now it is helpful to visualize energy changes throughout a process on a reaction coordinate diagram like this one for the rearrangement of methyl isonitrile. See again how the methyl isonitrile complex converted into activated complex and further into stable one methyl cyanide. Now this diagram shows the energy of the reactant and products and therefore changes in delta E. The high point on the diagram is the transition state or activated complex. Here I explain the species present at the transition state is called activated complex. The energy gap between the reactant and the activated complex is therefore known as the activation energy barrier. Now what is Arrhenius equation? Svante Arrhenius developed a mathematical relationship between rate law and activation energy, more precisely rate constant K with activation energy, and expressed as K equal to A into e to the power minus Ea by RT, where A is the frequency factor, a number that represents the likelihood that collisions would occur with the proper orientation for reaction. Now here I am taking the graph and the logarithm on both sides, which is very much similar with the equation, straight line equation y equal to mx plus b, and here K is determined experimentally at several temperature. Ea also can be calculated from the slope of a plot of ln K versus 1 by T. Now K is the rate constant, Ea is the activation energy, unit joule per mole, R is the gas constant, 8.314 joule per Kelvin mole, T is the Kelvin temperature, and A is the frequency factor. So this is the graph I explain on the basis of temperature dependence of the rate constant. And here is the plot of Arrhenius equation, where there is a negative slope minus Ea by RT. Now in class 11 we discussed about kinetic molecular theory of gases. Now from the basis of this concept, today I am going to explain you Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. Temperature is defined as a measure of the average kinetic energy of the molecules in a sample. At any temperature there is a wide distribution of kinetic energies. So from this graph you can say that he will become more sharper when temperature is very low, and become more broader when temperature becomes very high. As the temperature increases, the curve flattens and broadens. Thus, at higher temperature, a larger population of molecules has higher energy. Now, next one. If the dotted line represents the activation energy, as the temperature increases, so thus the fraction of molecules that can overcome the activation energy barrier. As a result, the reaction rate increases. This fraction of molecules can be found through the expression F equal to e to the power minus Ea by RT, where R is the gas constant and T is the temperature in Kelvin. A catalyst is a substance that increases the rate of a chemical reaction without itself being consumed. Here I show you two different plots when I apply catalyst and the reaction is uncatalyzed. So in that case, when the reaction proceeds in absence of any catalyst, then the activation energy barrier is very higher with respect to the second graph when the reaction progress in presence of catalyst. Now catalyst increase the rate of a reaction by decreasing the activation energy of the reaction. Catalyst change the mechanism by which the process occurs. Now from this graph you can see that for catalyzed reaction it's shown by the blue line, and for uncatalyzed reaction based on the red line. So its activation energy for the catalyzed reaction is very low and reaction becomes more faster. Now here is some pictorial description on way a catalyst can speed up a reaction is by holding the reactants together and helping bonds to break. Next one, there are two types of catalyst: heterogeneous, one that is present in a different phase as the reacting molecules; homogeneous, one that is present in the same phase as the reacting molecules. For example, hydrogen peroxide decomposes very slowly in the absence of a catalyst. In the presence of bromine ions, the decomposition occurs rapidly in an acidic environment. Br minus is a homogeneous catalyst because it is regenerated at the end of the reaction. The net reaction is still 2H2O2 converted into 2H2O and oxygen gas. How do catalysts increase reaction rates? In general, catalysts operate by lowering the overall activation energy EA for a reaction. From the graph, you just remember, it lowers the hill. However, catalyst can operate by increasing the number of effective collisions. A catalyst usually provides a completely different mechanism for the reaction. In the preceding peroxide decomposition example, in the absence of a catalyst, hydrogen peroxide decomposes directly to water and oxygen. In the presence of bromide ion, aqueous bromine is generated as an intermediate. When a catalyst adds an intermediate, the activation energies for both steps must be lower than the activation energy for the uncatalyzed reaction. Heterogeneous catalyst. Often we encounter a situation involving a solid catalyst in contact with gaseous reactant and gaseous products. Example, catalytic converters in car. Many industrial catalysts are heterogeneous. Now, how do they do their job? The first step is adsorption, the binding of reactant molecules to the catalyst surface. Adsorption occurs due to the high reactivity of atoms or ions on the surface of the solid. Molecules are adsorbed onto active sites on the catalyst surface. The number of active sites on a given amount of catalyst depends on several factors such as the nature of the catalyst, how the catalyst was prepared, how the catalyst was treated prior to use. Now, for example, that this is organic is a very important example. It means that hydrogenation in alkene, that any type of alkene while react with hydrogen in presence of nickel, platinum or palladium, so any type of alkene convert into alkane. Here are the steps. First, the ethylene and hydrogen molecules are adsorbed onto active sites on the metal surface. Second, the hydrogen bond breaks and the hydrogen atoms migrate about the metal surface and runs into a alkene molecule on the surface. Third, when an hydrogen atom collides with a alkene molecule on the surface, the carbon-carbon pi bond breaks and carbon-hydrogen sigma bond forms. Lastly, when alkane forms, it dissolves from the surface. When ethylene and hydrogen are adsorbed onto a surface, less energy is required to break the bonds. The activation energy for the reaction is lowered, thus the reaction rate increases. Now, very interesting topic. I am going to explain you about enzyme. Enzymes are also catalysts, but in biological system. The substrate fits into the active site of the enzyme much like a key fits into a lock. See, enzyme and substrate convert into enzyme substrate complex, and further enzyme produces products. Enzymes are biological catalysts. There may be as many as 30,000 enzymes in human body. For example, lactase. Most enzymes are protein molecules with large molecular masses, 10,000 to 10 to the power 6 atomic mass unit. Enzymes have very specific shapes. Most enzymes catalyze very specific reactions. The substances that undergo reaction at the active site on enzymes are called substrates. A substrate locks into an enzyme and a first reaction occurs. The products then move away from the enzyme. Only substrates that feed into the enzyme lock can be involved in the reaction. If a molecule binds tightly to an enzyme so that another substrate cannot displace it, then the active site is blocked and the catalyst is inhibited, known as enzyme inhibitors. Many poisons act by binding to the active site, blocking the binding of substrates. The binding can also lead to changes in the enzyme. Enzymes are extremely efficient catalysts. The number of individual catalytic events occurring at an active site per unit time is called the turnover number. Large turnover numbers correspond to very low activation energy. For enzymes, turnover numbers are very large, 10 to the power 3 to 10 to the power 7 per second. Here this is the pictorial explanation that enzyme will react with substrate via the formation of enzyme substrate complex, convert into products. Example: nitrogen gas cannot be used in the soil for plants or animals. Nitrogen compounds are used in the soil. The conversion between nitrogen and ammonia is a process with a high activation energy. The nitrogen triple bond needs to be broken. Nitrogenase, an enzyme in bacteria that lives in root nodules of legumes such as clover and alfalfa, catalyzes the reduction of nitrogen to ammonia. It lowers the activation energy and the reaction proceeds. And I just show you Oswald process, that how ammonia convert into nitric acid, and this is platinum ruthenium catalyst used in Oswald process. So today this is the last overall video related with chemical kinetics. Thank you.